Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Eureka Conservative Podcast, coming to you live. Let's get frog in the throat from the live, beautiful suburbs of Melbourne. There we are. I'm a different laptop at the moment. My other one's doing a bunch of backups on my website. What? A little music going. Hold on a tick. There we go. Got rid of that. So yeah, coming to you. Hopefully it works out from a different laptop. It's not as good as the other one, but the other one, I've got to let it go. It's doing a bunch of backups. I've had some IT issues the last couple of days with email and websites. So yeah, hopefully the mic's coming across okay and the video's working. I'll just double check it on my phone. Wait up. Yep, it is. That's good. So, yeah, tonight, pretty simple episode. Not going to be going over any policy tonight. We did that last week enough. So tonight will just simply be me going over the issues. And if you want to jump on board and get involved, feel free. So pretty casual way of going about it this week. But there is a lot to talk to. So I'll get on to a few issues, and then we'll go through our Twitter feed and address a few others. So for those of you who follow me on the Bible Read and Bob Rant, the Charlie Kirk Bible Read and Bob Rant, I'll probably address a couple of these. I'll address them a little bit in more detail tonight. So there's a lot going on politically. The first one to cover is Victorian opposition leader. Well, I don't know. It's a bit, the whole thing right at the moment is also fluid. Who is the true opposition? Is it the Liberals? Is it the Nationals? Is it One Nation? You get different opinions from a bunch of people. Personally, I would say going by the polls, One Nation has to be legitimately considered at least equal in status to the Liberals. They're leading them across the nation. They're in front federally in the polls. They're in front at state level in Victoria, Queensland, and South Australia and New South Wales. Now, the only argument that the Liberals have is they don't have any seats. Or like Chris Minns argued yesterday, they're not capable of governing. They're just a protest party. If they're just a protest party, get onto their website and see their policy pages. Compare them, the Liberals to One Nation. I think you're in for a shock. I think you'll see that the One Nation is a lot further advanced than even the Liberals. I hope, and the good news is I'm currently talking to their state leader in Victoria, Warren Pickering, and him on to the podcast for an interview like we did with Scott Challen and Jordan Ditloff. And let's find out. Let's find out what in Victoria, because as a Victorian, we've got a state election coming up in November. I'm pretty keen to find out how they're getting ready for it, what their policies are in regards to Victoria and Melbourne, how they're going with candidates, who they're vetting, all that sort of thing. And I don't think they have to do much better than the Liberals to give us a real option to start choosing for in this coming election. And be big, because in the past couple of elections, I've either voted for the Libertarians in Victoria, because David Limbrick, I think, is a champion. Tim Quilty, the same. And Jordan Ditloff was a thing. So I really have got a lot of time for the Victorian Libertarians. I've got zero time for the New South Wales, but that's me. And also, in the last federal election, I voted. Nobody was representing me as a Conservative the last election in my book. And so, and I don't think we had a minor party who was in a position to claim government, maybe not next election, but in the next couple, that we could really rally behind. So what was the point? My vote wasn't going to count. I voted for MAGA. Now the political spectrum has changed. Now there's really a third viable option for government. Now, will they win government in the next few elections? I doubt it. But who knows? I mean, who knows, number one. And number two, even if at each state level and federally they win a handful of seats, let's say half a dozen. That's massive for One Nation. Now their funding increases. Now their allocation of staff increases. Now they get blocks to represent them. Now they have the ability to negotiate partnerships, coalitions, preference deals. They're no longer what ifs. They're there. And why do I say all that? Because we desperately need something other than the Liberals. And you're talking to a person that for the majority of his life voted Liberal, has been holding out past decade since they knifed out, but they'd come back to their senses, but I've really given up on it. And I think there's a lot of me like, this nation is polling so well. I think there's plenty of us out there, just like me, who've gone, right, enough's enough. You know, we've given this plenty of time. You've had your chances, Liberals, Nationals, and we're just over you. And for me, the final straw that broke the camel's back, and there could have been a few, was them getting into bed with these hate speech laws. You know, and now we've seen a guy up in New South Wales, he was stupid. He should never have said what he said. But did it deserve him? This is the guy, the NSN guy on the March for Australia when he got up to speak, and he spouted a bunch of anti-Semitism not long after Bondi. Just stupid. Shouldn't have done it. You might believe it, but sometimes if you're not sure, bite your lip. You know, that was a lesson I was given early on. And that one was just stupid. But should you go to jail for being stupid? Should you go to jail for offending? No, my argument there is absolutely not. We live in a liberal democracy. If you don't understand what a liberal democracy is, look it up. You know, there's supposed to be an exchange of debate, an exchange of ideas, an exchange of opinions, exchange of policy. You know, the better ideas win. You know, we get out of this. Is what the Liberals have forgotten. They're not worried about the better ideas. They're better worried about the selling them. How do we get our inner city seats back from the Teals? Oh, I know. We've got to go bigger on renewables and climate change. You know, we've got to look after the minority. We've got to do all this sort of thing. And they had a conservative leading. Happens all the time. Abbott was a conservative. It led him to a massive landslide win. What did they do? They knifed him. Brad Batten was a conservative. He was leading in the polls. He had the Liberals well and truly on their way to winning this next state election. What do they do less than a year out? They change him for this inexperienced nitwit. I can now call her a nitwit. I was prepared to give her a chance. But then yesterday she comes out and says, our hate speech laws aren't strong enough. We've got to strengthen them. They've got to strengthen our hate speech laws. This is a Liberal, a leader of the Liberal Party putting this. Study the Liberals' history. They're supposed to be about individuals, the freedom of opinions, all those things I just brought up, the right to have your say, the right to have your opinion, the right to associate and assemble with those you may agree or even disagree with, the right to, you know, be an entrepreneur who builds a business, who can things. They're not the trade union movement. So it's quite bizarre that we've not got a Liberal premier, a Liberal opposition leader, premier saying, I need to repress your speech further. That makes no sense to me. I don't think it just makes no sense. Doesn't matter who you're aligned with. Now, I'm never going, I don't think I ever will. I'm just so over the Liberals. But if they ever wanted to have an opportunity to get someone like me back on board, well, you know what you do? You make a commitment to repealing the hate speech laws. You make a commitment to repealing 18C, a commitment to getting and dismantling the e-safety commissioner. Anything that oppresses or restricts freedoms has got to go. Just got to go. And there's plenty of fertile ground. We announced it last week with the Ministry of Liberty. Now, most people worry about the economy and all that, and they're all important things. But in our way of life, you can't allow your liberties taken. The Yanks fought a war over this. The War of Independence was all about liberty. The Liberty Bell. You know, that's why they've got the Bill of Rights over there. Maybe our fight's coming. Hopefully it's done democratically. And that's where it is important. And there's some part there saying One Nation's not going far enough. Yeah, they are. They might not go as far as you'd like, but if you don't jump on board that bandwagon now, then they can challenge for government. If enough people there's a lot of people behind them now. It's not going to take many more before they can challenge for government. So here's your chance. Here's your chance for all those. And I was never on board with the Uni Party. I'm getting on board a bit now. But all I've been waiting for is an actually alternative can win our government. It's here. One Nation is here. Are they everything that I would like? Increasingly, yes. Actually, increasingly, a lot of their policies are pretty good. Get on their policy page and have a look at a lot of the policies. If you're a right conservative like me, you should like what they've put there. But here we have Jess Wilson yesterday in a little thing. I mean, does she not want to win government? The thing of I have some more IT issues. Oh no, I got rid of it. Thank God. The Liberals do this all the time. Sue did. Peter Dutton did it. Scott Morrell. Now you got Jess Wilson doing it. They just shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, they all bang on. I was listening to it yesterday on Sky News, which is all cheerleading now for Angus Taylor. And they were banging on that everyone's jumping on One Nation. Well, let me educate some of you Sky News. It wasn't Bondi that did this. It contributed. But the thing that killed the Liberal vote, look at the timeline, was when they jumped into bed with the ALP, hate speech laws. Friends are an easygoing lot, but they love their liberties. And you've now ostracised, and they won't come back to you until you address that main issue. Get your asses out of our lives. Get big government out of our lives. Government to small government. It's not hard. We don't want it. Look, there are some people. I'm not going to be one of those types who speaks for all Australians, because there's obviously a bunch of morons in Australia, probably about the third of the population, that do want big government. Well, I don't see why the other 60 to 70% of us have to be put up with that. Part of the preferential system. Gen Z, what are you doing? I looked at their polls continually show they overwhelmingly back the ALP and Greens. Well, if you want oppressive totalitarian government that's going to tax more, that's going to make it harder to leave, that's going to make it harder to buy a house, that's going to make it harder to that's going to, charge you, imprison you, do all things because you're not relying on their accepted speech. Well, keep going the way you're going. Good luck with that one. At least someone like me is close to the end of the finish. You guys have got 50. You got 50 years of this. Wake up. Come on. It's not hard to wake up. Study history. Study the ideology. Study their politics. Don't just go along with the mantra that the media feeds you, the city feeds you. You go to university, apparently, to think. Anyone got a Gen Z person out there sharing this? I deal with a lot of the Gen Z kids. They're not dumb. So we've got a way to communicate them a little bit better. But they've been stuck into this mantra about the world's evil. And, blame that alone for influences. And, yeah, I haven't spoken about these guys a lot, but tonight I am. On the Tucker Carlsons, blame it on the Candace Owens. Blame it on everyone who's pushing them to worry about things that, even if they do, a lot of it's not, because I'm a history buff, I know history. A lot of the shit Tucker Carlson says he's just plain wrong, but apparently he's popular. Well, I don't understand that. That either means Gen Z generations either dumb as dog shit, or they're ignorant, or they're just going with the flow. I would say probably the last one, because it is pretty hard to get older to resist your peers. And it's convenient. So we still live, believe it or not, we're still a lot of good in this world. You don't need to be following down these pointless. I'll go back to what I was about to say. Even if it's true, you can affect here in this country through your vote who gets in a parliament. That's your power. What other power you got? Now, I've heard some idiots talk about civil war and revolution. You don't mind. Number two, what are we going to fight the authorities with? We've got the strictest gun laws in the globe. So unless you get the army on side, which I doubt you're ever going to do, or the police, which I doubt you're ever that's not an option. We're not America where everyone carries around a submachine gun. So you've got to get back into the rally. What you can do, you can get behind One Nation. You can volunteer for One Nation. You can donate. In my point, I'm going to be doing a bunch of One Nation candidates. I've already been given a couple. We're talking with Malcolm Roberts through his office to try and get him on board, or even Paul to get them on, and pump their tires up. You young ones, you need One Nation getting into Parliament and being a big representation so we can start changing things. They're going to have branches, apparently. If this is the case, jump on board, get politically engaged. Start picking apart policy. Start understanding, supporting. Just don't vote for the Greens because you think that's the right thing to do, or because your university professor's done it, or a bunch of your mates are doing it. Research it, study it, understand it. Don't vote for the ALP because, you might belong to a union and you're getting convinced by union delegates, the ALP, you won't get all these rights and benefits. One day, you're not going to be part of that trade union. You might start your own business, and then you'll have a different opinion about trade unions. So, we've already got enough authority within government with the awards and whatever that they can look after you. You've got to start putting country's interest first. Just financially, we can't keep going. We're going. Who have we got here? So, we've got talking, and young ones, you've got to start going through the policies. You got to educate in this whole thing. Where does your vote take you? And the other one you got to educate yourself on is the preferences. Out there about the preferences, understand them, what they're doing, where's it going, ultimately going to end up. Don't trust any politician on any political party. A lot of times your vote will go somewhere where you don't want it. Hold on, guys. This everywhere. I really can't be bothered. There we go. So I've learned how to block a troll. It's interesting. I mean, this is what I'm talking with a lot of this. Get alive. I mean, I'm big on social media. Okay, I get on there, I talk, I have an opinion, I've got my followers, I got my own little niche. I'm just a nobody, really. And even if I was a somebody, I wouldn't care. I would hope I'd keep myself humble. I just don't understand people who've got nothing but troll someone. It's a nobody. It's actually pretty amusing, but I actually feel for them. What a waste of a life. What a waste of time. Engage properly, So anyway. The Liberals have now got Jess Wilson, more HB laws. So she's failed, and what she's done by doing that, just about sabotaged her chances of winning in November. She had a slight outside chance. I don't think she's got any chance anymore. I think she's got an idiot for a deputy leader in David Southwick, and I think he only got that job because he was Jewish. And I'm pro. You can ask a lot of Jewish friends. I coached at a Jewish basketball club because they had no one else. They actually headhunted me for it because I did the job. I've got a lot of time and respect for the Jewish community in Melbourne. A lot of good people. But you just don't appoint It's like trying to point a person because they're black, they're female, or because they're Jewish or they're Islamic or whatever. You appoint them because they're the best person. David Southwick, if he's the person the Liberals have got for a deputy, little wonder Sam Grant. What do we got else here? Who cares? So I've got one banging on about you voting for billionaires. I'd rather the best person, buddy. And so give me something that I can do. Otherwise, I have a block party on thing. There we go. Give me some, people got to. Like, I'd like a billionaire. Bring Donald Trump on. If we had Donald Trump here, great. If we had Elon Musk, I'd vote for him. So I don't really understand why anybody has an issue with actually being. I'd rather a business be in charge rather than worrying about having an elbow who's had no business. Okay, so this is another troll, probably the same different name. It's bizarre. He's banging on. Well, if you vote for One Nation, you're voting for Generata. I don't care. Good. Again, judge the person. If it was Clive Palmer, I would have a worry. And it's got nothing to do with his money or her money. It's got to do with what I think. I think Generata is a decent. I think climate is a spoiler. I mean, you can judge people. I think Elon Musk is a decent. Trump, despite all his critics, is a decent person. And I've got no problem dealing with it. You can judge people rather than whether they're a billionaire or not a billionaire. It's a stupid argument. And the current financial situation we're in with the $1 trillion, it probably would be smart to have someone who knows who can generate money and save money. And that's what billionaires can do. And Elon Musk, who can, the Department of Doge, that can eliminate waste and reduce spending, beautiful, bring him on board, no issue. So it's just such a stupid argument, isn't it? Call people racist or whatever. It's just a silly, silly, silly argument. And this is what I'm talking about with the young ones. They get sucked in by these stupid arguments. How, if you're looking for someone to solve your problems, a person who's a billionaire, who understands how to build things, build business, give you advice, that person can help you. A person like Elbow is not going to help you. What's Elbow done with his life other than leech off the taxpayer, leak off union fees? That's all he's ever done. He's an arsehole. He says he wants to build the light, social unity. What's he done towards any of that? He's divided us more than any prime minister I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've been around a while, boys. I don't see how you would want Elbow in that position as opposed to a billionaire who's got a love of country. And you can vary him up. I think Gina Wright, you don't have to think that way. I do. If it was Andrew Forrest, he's a dickhead. He's a billionaire, but he's more up the Chinese ass. I mean, he would know the taste of. He's so far up that ass in China. So I wouldn't be voting for him. So it just depends on the person. A lot of people voted. I don't know. Mel, he's not a billionaire, but he's worth quite a bit of money. I would never vote for that. Probably did, and a lot of people did. So we've got Jess Wilson, who's a Turnbullite type. You can see it, and you got David Southwick, and so they're going the moderate road again. And the funny thing that I've been listening to, they got rid of Batten, Victoria, because Batten was all about. And yeah, mate, my podcast, I can talk to whoever I bloody like, and I can block whoever I like. So keep coming on. That's all right. I'm a cow. I don't get on to people's podcasts in between. I'm talking to this nutter directly. I'm not going to share his messages because he's been trying to do this for a few weeks now. And he's obviously got different usernames. He comes on there, gets in my chat. Funny. But he keeps me a cow because I won't share his things. Most of it's pretty. Why share it? Number one, my podcast, I can share whatever the hell I want. I don't have to share anything I don't want to. Bad luck, buddy. Start your own podcast. I've just so he's now going to go get another username, come back on and go. He does this every week. It's kind of funny. So when you start a podcast, you're going to get this one. And eventually, if I can ever make $1 out of this, which I'm not too sure I ever will, I need a producer who can sit on the sideline. I'll just block these and vet the messages thing. So anyway, thank God I only have a small following. Imagine what it must be like, casters. I'm pretty sure they just ignore the chat. Back again. See you, buddy. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Anyway, if you see me looking over here, it's all I'm doing. See how he goes. So what else was happening? Albo got in a bit of a stir twice this week. One about the bomb scare in, what was it? The Lodge. Was it in Canberra? I call that bullshit. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I think I think he needed a distraction, so that's what he went for. Others might not. Listen, if there was a legitimate bomb scare, that's crazy. We shouldn't, I don't like a lot of the politicians, but do you worry about them by crazy? Have a sensible debate, unlike my friend here. And, have your points of view, be critical, but once you start threatening people, then you're taking it a step too far. And all you risk is getting charged and going to go. He knows I'm going to block him, but he's getting on with different accounts. Imagine the amount of time and effort that must take to come up. He's probably got them all set up, and he just keeps coming back into my chat. He probably does this with Michael. He might even know me. Who knows? So he's just trying to be a nuisance, but it's actually entertaining. So, no, buddy, I'm not going to share. I'm not going to engage. I am going to block. So if you want to keep coming on and keep getting blocked, that's fine. We had an interesting, haven't talked a lot about the overseas stuff. A couple of things in the American to the English stuff. So we've had, I like the politics, whether it's Australia or overseas, wherever, especially in America and UK, because they're probably the ones closest to our sort of way of life in many ways. In America, we'll get onto the Britain later on, but in America, I find it interesting with Tucker Carlson. I know he's divisive. I don't like him. I used to love him. Can't stand him anymore. And not even so much about his Israel stance. If he wants to be anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, that's okay. Go for it. Just a waste of time. But anyone who wants to do that, you've got the right. What I don't like is when he makes his argument, the amount of time he lies. Now, nearly everything he brings up to have a crack at Israel is just about a lie. Stick to the facts. Everyone was banging on about his interview with Mike Huckabee. I did a fact checked on it, and there was apparently 36 lies at least that Carlson said. I would say that's probably an underestimate of how many lies he actually had. There is so many lies he has come up with over the last 12 months. It's unbelievable if he still has credibility. Nathan Livingstone, he is brilliant at this. He goes back and he goes through their comments and their clips, and he compares what they said, years ago to what they're saying now, or he compares about their hypocrisy or the actual lies that they tell. He does it with all of them. So whether it's Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker, it's really worth to follow. He's an Aussie guy too. He did this with Andrew Tate as well, with their own content. It's not like it's what he's saying, it's what they're saying, and then he puts it up against what they're currently saying or doing. It's really good stuff. If you haven't followed him, just doing your search in your ex, Nathan Livingstone. Give him a follow. Big shout out. Fantastic. And he's pretty funny. When he puts it together, it's good stuff. That about Churchill. I mean, Tucker didn't even realise that America entered the world war after Pearl Harbor. He thought America declared war on Germany. He didn't even know that Germany declared war. He thought America declared war on Germany when they invaded Poland. I mean, he's an imbecile. I mean, and you can see it in the way he presents himself. It's really kind of really strange. I don't know what he's done. I thought I had my mirror thing on there for a while. But, yeah, we met. But the most alarming thing, okay, keep it straight. But then after the interview with Huckabee, he went on to Saudi Arabia television. I haven't watched hours, but I've watched clips basically bagging out Trump, the administration, America. I mean, it's an act of treason. I mean, they say Saudi Arabia is an ally. Saudi Arabia is worried about Iran. That's why they're an ally with America, but they don't necessarily line up with American values. They're still an Islamic country under Sharia law. They're freer than Iran or whatever, but, you know, you're still not allowed to practice your faith, your opinion, whatever. If you go there, you're in trouble. So it's a little bit freer than most Islamic states, but it's still in an Islamic state. So, you know, Carlson gets on that, and then the clips get shared in Iran. I mean, it's like he's an agent against his own country. We wouldn't cop that with an Australian identity, whether they're a politician, a podcaster in the media. The Yanks seem to tolerate it. I don't understand it. Do they have a country? And as an example of that, I don't know how many watched the State of the Union yesterday. Trump, the Democrats, like you would never believe. If you haven't watched it, you should watch the whole thing in its entirety. Sat down and watched it yesterday, and Trump got all these people up that he was recognising, giving awards to. So the parents of the girl, the Ukrainian girl that got killed on the bus when that illegal stabbed her in the neck. They had a young daughter that got run over by an illegal Indian truck driver. And her doctors told her father she wouldn't walk again. She's battling through that. Also, American helicopter pilot went into Venezuela and saved a bunch of lives because despite being shot, I think it was 5 times in his lower torso, he got the plane back on its ship. So he got the Medal of Honor. They had the hockey team, which all got on. But in all those instances, they didn't stand up. And this is the Democrats. Everyone else is stand up applauding these people because these are American heroes. These are people that need support. They're American citizens. And some of them, the parents of the Ukrainian girl that died, but they got them over here and they acknowledged them. Everyone supported them except the Democrats. The Democrats kept sitting. And even Trump go, why? How are you sitting? Shameful. And then I don't know whether he came up with this spot or whether it was a setup. Whichever way, they fell for it, the Democrats. Trump turned around and said, well, everyone in here who thinks it's more important as a politician to protect American lives and citizens, that they're more important than protecting illegal immigrants, please stand up. Everyone in there say, if you support American lives, citizens, their lives, protect them, stand up now. If you don't stand up, you're supporting illegal immigrants. And these people that, you know, the one like who murdered that, I can't remember her name, the Ukrainian girl. So everyone stood up and we were applauding for like 3-4 minutes. And the Democrats sat down through all of it. It was gobsmacking, saying we don't care about American lives. We would rather support illegal immigrants. And I was wondering, how many Australian politicians do you think would stand up for Australian citizens ahead of the immigration they're bringing in? How many would stand up? How many would stand up for opposed to illegal immigration, especially amongst the ALP and the Greens? And don't underestimate it. There'd be those in the LNP that also wouldn't stand up. No doubt about it. Now, I think there's more on the centre right that would, but it would be very interesting. A lot of these people are not going to stand up because if they do stand up, they're sending a signal to their electorates, which are dominated by these immigrants. For example, Julian, Dan Dandenong, it's dominated by a large immigration intake. I mean, they were in Dandenong the other week. They were lowering the Indigenous flag to put up a Palestinian flag. This is in Dandenong. You know, they didn't lower the Australian flag, thank God, but I'm surprised they didn't. But they lowered the Indigenous flag. Surely that's where were all the Indigenous warriors coming out and protesting? They took down your flag. But that's Julian Hill's electorate. He's not going to come out and be all pro-Aussie. He's going to say things that will placate his immigrant demographic, as will Tony Burke, as will Chris Bowen. All these people that have high demographics, high percentage demographics of immigrant populations. That's why the ISIS brides and their kids are coming back in. They're facilitating it. ALP didn't have to facilitate it. What an act of treason that is. And Angus Taylor, unfortunately, Jess Wilson sabotaged him, but Angus Taylor actually did call their bluff. He's created another account. Angus Taylor did call their bluff by saying, we'll have harsh laws so you can keep these people out, the bar of it. So they're just like the Democrats in America. If they have to choose between Australian citizens and these immigrants that come in here that hate our way of life, that want to tear it down, rebel. There was an Islamic leader on X not long ago, I think it was earlier this week, and that they had to continue like Hamas. They had to continue the revolution like Hamas continued the revolution in Palestine. So what's that saying? Pauline Hanson's getting investigated about her, whether you agree with them, whatever. Doesn't really matter. She shouldn't be getting investigated. She was just speech. This guy's actually calling for I don't know that there's any investigation into it. Because if they did have an investigation into it, all those people whose asses they were kissed Kemba during Ramadan, they wouldn't vote for him. And I do think ALP is petrified that an Islamic party, which is coming, it's only a matter of time, will establish itself and start putting candidates into these electorates in coming elections. Wouldn't surprise me if they do it in the next election federally. Fatima Payman, she's trying to start some sort of Islamic party. Here we go. Another one. Probably 10 blocks. Yeah, goodbye. So, you know, you get all these politicians to the ALP. I'm using them as an example. I can't remember his name, Bragg or something, who was going on about the Indian population, you know, and banging on about how important they were. The Indians, I've got no problem with. In fact, I work with a lot of people from Chinese backgrounds, Indonesian backgrounds, Vietnamese backgrounds, Sri Lankan backgrounds, Indian backgrounds, Islamic backgrounds. If they accept our culture, I'm more than happy to work with them. But if they're trying to tear it down, we don't. I also don't think they should be getting treated any differently to any other Australian. If they're here to be Australian citizens, great. We shouldn't be funding their schools because they're an Indian school or as an Islamic school. We should be funding them because they're going to contribute towards the education of Australian kids, whether they be Christian, Islamic, Jewish, atheist, whatever. That's what they should be getting funded, but we don't. They get all their photos now and they'll have all the Indian kids behind them, all the Islamic kids behind them, and they're getting funded because they're that demographic in that electorate, and that's going to help them get elected. It's corrupt. It's bullshit. And all the politicians, except for Hanson and One Nation, are pretty much guilty of that. And so, you know, it's very, very much insane. It's crazy. Now, on the other part, talking of Christians, if you want to say you're a Christian and you're still supporting Candace Owens, go read your Bible a little bit, go back to church, reflect on what you're doing, say a few prayers, whatever you got to do. That woman's no Christian. Read your 10 Commandments. Read your 10 Commandments about not spreading lies about your neighbour, not defaming them. I don't know. Candace what the truth is behind Charlie Kirk's death. That'll come out in this trial. But you can't defame a person bearing false witness against the person. That's the commandment. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbour. All right, I'm pretty sure that's it. Certainly the commandment. That's the whole gist of it. Yet these people don't hesitate to judge. They don't hesitate to throw out the craziest rumours. They don't hesitate to say, oh, Charlie came to me in a dream. They don't hesitate to find these 45 links like she did in the latest episode, and I didn't watch it. You just get the clips of it. You can't avoid it. You know, where she went back through this and said their cousin, all this. They're trying to make out she's a pedophile from one photo. I'm surprised Eureka Kirk and TPUSA haven't gone for sued her. They should, because the more they don't, the more it gets all the nutters, the conspiracy theorists, going, well, she must be guilty because they're not suing her. Or maybe she's just a Christian. Maybe she actually lives a faith. I don't. I try to. I've got to try to more and more if I can. But maybe Candace as a sister in Christ, because she's a Catholic, she proclaims. So Candace is trying to do the Christian thing. She doesn't want to sue her, doesn't want to defame her. We'll hope that peace will come upon her and all this and wants to forgive her. But that is part of the problems with being a Christian or even a Catholic. We are a tolerant bunch who cop a lot, and we don't push back because our faith teaches us not to push back. But it also teaches us not to judge another person. Take out the plank of wood in your eye before seeing the splinter in someone else's. Look up your New Testament. But here is Candace Owens. She's just putting out a 3-episode documentary, apparently investigative series called The Bride of Charlie. And the cover, it's like a horror film. It's just simply disgusting. And listen, there were some things that Eureka Kirk did that I even put on my ex that I found a bit strange. But everyone does grieve differently. And if you're a friend of Charlie Kirk, as all these people proclaim, there's two types of people. Candace Owens bangs on about how she's a friend. Would Charlie Kirk want his wife and children being defamed? Today, Candace was going crazy to pray for Charlie's children. Why is that nuts? I don't get it. She's a Catholic. We should be praying. No, if I was a good Catholic, I would be praying for Candace. I'm not going to. She digs her own bed. But there's others that will pray for her. And God bless her. I hope she does change. But here she is defaming the wife, the kids. I mean, 2 weeks ago, she's banging on about a toddler waking up at 2:45 in the morning. I don't have kids, but I know plenty of people that do, and they all say, well, toddlers get up at that time of the morning. They get up at crazy times. It drives you insane. I think most parents go through that. And she was banging on about educated sleep or some nonsense, trained sleep. She's a bizarre woman. She has all these stupid theories, and nearly every theory she comes on. It's 12 months on, and she hasn't hit the nail on the head anywhere. But she'll bring it all out. I tell you what she is doing, though. I tell you what she is nailing the head. She's making a fortune every episode. Rob Schneider put out a list of all her episodes and what she made per episode. Gobsmacking. So she's making a fortune out of this by defaming her neighbour, which is against the Christian and Catholic teachings that she proclaims she is. So if you want to follow her, that's great. If you want to give her credence, that's great. Go ahead and do it. But then don't at the same time say you're a Catholic or a Christian or whatever, because it's very clear, it's very implicit. You don't behave this way as a Christian or a Catholic. You just don't do it. So if you can make that argument, come on this podcast. I'll happily have it with you. There's a thing called the Bible encourages you about humility. I read an extract today in my live stream that taught against people about having pride. Candace Owens thinks she's never wrong. That in itself is a sin, proven deadly sins. It's nuts. You can't be. Anyway, if you want to think you're a Christian, then go ahead, follow. If you want to think you're a Christian, review it. If you don't care about that, fine. Go follow Candace. But what she's doing, and there's this other thing coming out about how they're paying everyone to call her a demon. No, they're calling her demonic because what she's doing is demonic. She's ignoring her own teachings from the Bible that she proclaims all the time, and she's committing a sin against another person. Now, even if Eureka Kirk was guilty, come out with some facts, get the proper authorities into it, put her in front of a jury where she can defend her good name, and then she begin in front of her peers. And this is the modern version, what do they call it, of a hanging group, a lynch mob. So with no evidence, with nothing, one person says she did it, and now millions are coming in, she did it, she did it, she did it. She's got no chance of a fair trial. So I hope people wake up to themselves. I hope they see through Candace Owens. And what's worse is the so-called friends of Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, Jack Pokovich, who comes out with his rosary beads like it's a thing. That, again, is, I just think, sinful. I mean, I pray the rosary. The rosary beads aren't a sign of domination or revolution or whatever. They're there for you to pray, to reflect on your life. But he comes out there like they're a trophy. I mean, some would argue that's idolatry, which, again, is a sin. So the worst thing I think you can be as a Christian is a hypocrite. At times people could level that at me, and I probably would have to agree, and I'm going to go to confession, whatever. I sin. Every one of us sins. But that's why Jesus died on the cross. Just reflect on that a little bit if you're following it. Anyway, time for us to get on X and see how we're going. All right. Yeah, seems I've lost my mate. That's good. Let's have a look. I've been going 50 minutes. That was better than most of my rants. Sorry, guys. This laptop is a little slow. So just getting my X feed up. We'll have a look. We'll see what's news in my bookmarks. If anyone's out there got any sensible conversation, by means, send them through. Come on, share. Here we go. It's coming up, guys. Bear with me. It's a bit slower than my other laptop. I'm sorry, but it is coming. There you go. I got a blank screen. That's why I got a new laptop, because this one, she's a bit old. She's 10 years old, this one, and she's a bit touchy-feely, a bit naughty, so it's taken forever. And I've only got, here we go, 2 screens are up. Oh, no. Yeah. When it comes up and says wait, I mean, I don't have that much going on here. I've got 2 tabs on Google and my emails are open. Maybe I should shut my emails. Yeah, she's a bit emotional, this laptop. Come on. I want to get it up so I can scroll through it. Just bear with me for a minute, guys. Sorry. It'll be up in a minute. Oh, come on. Oh, she's doing the go slow. This is like the trade union doing the go slow. So, guys, if I lose you here, I'm sorry. What's it saying? It's still not giving me a screen. There we go. We might finally have it. Oh. Little wonder. I forgot to hit the post sign on the... I was wondering why I didn't have that many viewers. Didn't hit the post to share it. Anyway. Can't share the screen. Please try again. No, that's not what I want. I'll try one more time. I knew this was going too well. Got my ugly face back. Said I can't share the screen. Next week I'll be back. Like I said, I just got to get those backups done today. Let's see if I can get this screen this time. If we can't, we'll be missing out. My phone, if I can't get it. There's always different ways to skin a cat. Oh, here we go. All right, guys, there's just a lot of news going on. It's worth having a look. And oh my God, it's slow. Well, here we go. We got it. All right. We can go scroll through. And I'll post it. But don't fret. Let's give it another shot. Oh, my God. Everyone. It's not going to post. We'll get rid of it. Box. Sorry, guys. It's been one of those days today. Come on. I've said save. This is the post to put up. Your draft will save. Beautiful. Now get off my screen. Come on. Let's get in home. Someone's got on there. Interesting. Guys, you're trying to get this up the home. Here we go. Have snowball. I'm out there lots. I've no doubt there's lots to receive, a lot of protests against the Uniparty. That's true. Would Australia be better off with bogans running the country? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Well, how do you know they're going to be bogans? You haven't even seen their candidates yet. And, Bernardi, I wasn't too sure whether he'd be a good fit for One Nation. Same with Barnaby, but I think they're both doing pretty well. Maybe they've just got to get a few people out of that LNP and get them into a better. Mike's on there, the trucker. The Oz trucker. Oh, now I've lost him. Mario voters are heading toward One Nation. Oh, he's talking. Let's listen to Jess Wilson. If I can get. Sorry, guys, this is ridiculously slow. Hopefully, the longer we're on it, the more it'll quicken up. Come on. Oh, my God, it's going slow. We'll see how it goes. Give it a couple of more minutes, guys. We might have to pull the pin on it this week a bit early. So hopefully you can hear this. This is what Jess Wilson said. You won't see it because mine is not going quick enough.
I spent my weekend with various Chinese communities. I know that many of them were here today celebrating Chinese New Year. And this is alongside the Australian Indian community, all of the different multicultural communities that make our state so great. These are groups that make our state stronger. And I spend an enormous amount of time talking to them, understanding the issues that they care about, and ensuring that they feel heard and protected in this state. When we saw the shocking incident at the end of last year with the Bondi massacre, we as a nation had to talk about the fact that we don't have strong enough laws when it comes to hate speech. We don't have strong enough protections when it comes to minorities in this state. And I was proud to stand up and put forward a plan to combat hate and to combat the very type of hate speech that makes it.
So there you go. She wants to.
Harder for these communities to live in.
Dogs are not good. The Bible says, and by the way, dog.
Wants hate speech because she electorates. So that's all this is about. Sorry, guys, Rosen. Hopefully, here we go. Don't stop sharing. So I'm going to go off my phone. I'll get my ugly mug back here too soon. This is a pastor, the Protestant church. I've been getting into a bunch of arguments with Protestants. I'm finding out more to know. And if you're a Protestant, I'm sorry. I've got no doubt there's a lot of good Protestants. But these pastors, this is about a dog. Listen up.
Dogs are not good. The Bible says, and by dog, and you're going somewhere, and you're like, hey, you think Josh would watch my dog for me? No, I won't. Real life tells they're not good. You can see it with your nose, the Bible. Get that
Why not?
Let's pray. Father God, we love you. We thank you for truth in the Bible about dogs. You tell us
He's still
beware
going.
of dogs. And yes, you're applying that to men, evil men, but you're also telling us beware of dogs. Those are your words, 3
Hey,
words.
JJ, I want you to be careful.
Simple to understand. We need to get that in our head.
He's got his ears pricked up.
And focus on things that are
Where is it?
important, which are humans. Some people believe they need a dog as their best friend. They need to get rid of that and find a human as their best friend. Come here. You'll have great friends.
What an idiot. What an idiot. I don't understand people like that. You know. Oh. Sorry about all this, guys. Sort of ruined it. I should have figured this one before. Let's get in there on my phone, see what comes up. Not many people are talking about this part from the study. Democrats stay seated as Trump praised the rise of Christianity. Make no mistake, there's clear evidence of their hostility towards our faith. Well, that's the left being hostile towards Christianity. So, but it's good to see it. Here's another guy, Sam Shriver. He's good. He's got a lot of good young opinions. That's I've got to get it in front of my face if you can see it. That's Sam there. I would give him a follow. Young guy, got good opinions. Don't agree with them all, naturally enough. We're never ever going to agree with each other. Seriously, this is Jess Wilson, who will likely be the next Premier of Victoria. I'm not so sure, Sam. Calling for more hate speech laws to protect multiculturalism. Crazy. So glad to see a lot of people are asking this. Interesting, nearly a half of Australians are considering right now voting One Nation. That, 50% in certain areas that are all considering voting One Nation. If that actually happens at that higher rate, close to that, it'll get in the high 30s, because Albo and the Liberals are just going to keep shooting themselves in the foot, and everyone's going to get more and more sick of it. And if One Nation just keeps to common sense policy, people are looking for change. That's why this rise is happening. So if they keep common sense policy, and hopefully Pauline can manage to keep her foot out, I mean that with the greatest respect if you're watching Pauline, have to. But if she can manage just to keep things under control, let Barnaby and let Bernardi do a lot of the talking. Do your interviews, do whatever. Just be careful on what you say, because there's a pathway, I reckon, here to government. Now, some people say I'm stupid for saying that. I actually think there's a legitimate pathway to government for One Nation. I won quite a big bet on Trump in 2016. Everyone thought I was crazy. It's because people want change. That's why Trump won. I think people in Australia want change. That's why I think there's a pathway for One Nation. And if the Liberals and ALP won't change, which I don't think they will, then I think One Nation have a serious chance. But who knows? We'll see. Federal voting intentions. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about, Gen Z. Federal voting intentions, 18 to 34, ALP 35%, LNP 25%, Green 17%, and One Nation 10%. What's going on with Gen Z? There we go. So the trial's back. Took him a while. Yeah, nuts. Here's no, I can't show that. Some of this video stuff you won't even see. Andrew Bolt, Pauline Hanson's rise in popularity, this will be interesting, is not just wiping the smear off Labor's face, but giving the Liberals a sniff of election victory. So what party would be prudent to stop trashing her? Well, that's actually a very good point. The Liberal Nationals should be working with One Nation. If they work with One Nation, they will be, and Jess Wilson just decided not to. It's going to be interesting, the dynamics in the state Liberal Party. Kennett said, get your preference deal done with One Nation. Jess Wilson came out with the hate speech laws. One Nation's against hate speech laws. They're against hate speech laws, full stop. So, what they're trying to do there, mate, if you want to see their policies, One Nation, I've got a guy, and you're about to get blocked because I think you're the same guy. Go to their website, mate. It's all on there. Not hard. Goodbye. But even Kennett was saying, so there's got to be a bit of a fracture within the Liberal Party, but the silly moderates and the Conservatives within there. You can't exist under the same banner. You just can't do it. I'll get a couple more in here. So there's one here I respect. It's shocking how bad the first episode of Candace Owens' Eureka Kirk series. Olivia Dasovic and I reacted to Candace's new series, Bride of Charlie, and discussed why we think Candace is running out of rabbits to pull from a hat. I think that's a very legitimate thing. There's going to be a point where even her most fervent supporters go, this is all bullshit. What are we doing? At that point, she'll fade away. I don't know how long it's going to take. Look, I'll credit where credit's due. She might get to a point where she's proven entirely right, and I look like an idiot. Unlike Candace, I'll be prepared to say, oh, well done, good job, okay. But I don't think we're ever going to get there. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But it still doesn't defend her slandering a person's name without proof, which is what she's doing at the moment. Provide the proof, then go. Stephen Smith commenting on the State of the Union yesterday. Let's have a listen. I hope you can hear all this.
When he asked a question about cheering and asking about protecting American citizens and prioritizing them ahead of migrants, that you are.
He did.
He knew you weren't going to stand.
He did.
He knew 73 of y'all were going to show up to places and not show up to the State of the Union. He knew that a lot of Americans that were moderates on both sides of the aisle were going to look at y'all as being every bit as out of control as you claim he is.
He did.
The difference is that he takes those positions and the heat that comes with it as the president in office. You couldn't keep him out.
Nope.
And he's making the claim that you're him so much, you're devoid of objectivity, and you're devoid of thinking about what's in the best interest of the United States of America because you're too busy thinking about your own personal feelings and animus towards him. And every time you do that, he smiles and mocks you and has a field day.
He does have a field day.
Play right into his hand. Don't come back at me and say F. Stephen A. Smith or Stephen A. Smith is selling out or Stephen A. Smith is this way or that way. I'm just telling you what it is. Don't kill a messenger.
Exactly.
Shape the message in a fashion that benefits you for once. You've been playing y'all like a fiddle for 11 years now, and you still can't beat them.
So true.
Now, you keep falling.
That's true.
It's a damn shame. It truly, truly is.
That's not. It's great.
Bet you didn't see this. I'm so done with this dude, man. The truth is.
So people, I get. I can understand people having a grievance with Israel or anti-Zionist, or even if they're actually anti-Jew. Okay. What I don't understand is people who wake up every day about it. Haven't they got better things to do in their lives? I mean, Tucker Carlson, obviously, for example, man, good luck to him. Makes a lot of money out of doing it. But he obviously wakes up in the morning, has his cereal, has his cornflakes, and thinks while he's having his coffee, I hate Israel. I hate the Jews. What can I do about it? I mean, there's so many other people like that. What would they be hating on if it wasn't for Israel and the Jews? And this is why the Jews, which I think is right, they come for the Friday people, which is the Jews, the Friday people first, and they come for the Saturday people second, which is the Christians. I actually think there's a lot of validity to that. If the Jews weren't there, a lot of these people who hate the West would then be starting to come out after every Christian on the planet. Because most of these people who hate are either got a relationship with the Islamic State or they are Islamic and they're radical. And they want to tear down Western society. That's not me imagining it. They come out and say it. It's not hate speech. I'm just repeating what is from them. I'm just repeating what they say. That's their hate speech. So it's kind of bizarre. They wake up every morning worrying about the Jews. There's a lot more thinking about than damn Jews, I tell you. I'll get into my bookmarks and then we'll probably call it night because it's annoying for me. It's probably far more annoying for you. So let's have a look. Oh, my God. Sorry. There was a couple of good ones, I think. Can you believe the Prime Minister thinks we need more politicians? Here's a good one. Albo, he wants to add 40 more MPs and citizens to our parliament. 40. Haven't we got enough, actually, with their snouts in their trough? Haven't we rules up there? I don't think we need any more politicians. I think we need less of the bastards. Let's get rid of either state government, local government. We do not need more politicians. We need less. We're overrepresented now. But what he's looking to do is build a gerrymander. Where would you put these? So, and how would you construct it so you can get more of your people through? You can't trust this bastard as far as you can kick him. There's a few more, but listen, I'll save them for next week because, like I said, it's annoying for me, and I've had my rant twice today, which is really good. All I'd say, I'll sign off for tonight. Hopefully, we're trying to get a few. I've got them on the go. So in the coming weeks, we're going to have some guests where we can have a proper conversation. Turn off the chat on those nights until we're finished, just so we get those conversations in. Like I said, we're talking to Warren Pickering, the leader of One Nation in Victoria, talking to Malcolm Roberts, this One Nation senator from Canberra, talking to a, I can't remember it, Dr. He goes by the name, I don't know who he is. He seems a real interesting guy, and he's approached me. Let's see if I can get him up. Dr. Rami. He wants to come off. He big supporter. He's got an interesting story to tell. He's from Iraq. He's a Christian, and he talks about Islam and the Islamic states and what they do to different societies. So I think that'll be a really interesting interview. If you want to call it an interview, chat, I should call it. So we've got it lined up. So hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to get going up. We can continuously get a guest on the podcast in between us releasing policy. So it's not just me rambling on. I better get my IT issues sorted out. Hopefully this has come across all right, because watching it here, it's sort of a bit stop-start, a little thing. So hopefully it's airing over the internet really well. We'll see very soon when I get off this. So God bless you. God bless your kids. God bless your grandkids. God bless your pets. Look at that boy. Oh, God. I'll get a better shot of him. Look at my boy. As a dog, do you have a better life than that? I mean, seriously. And that guy doesn't want us to have dogs. I love my dogs. I'll go out and say it. I love my dogs more than I love a lot of people. So, and I think if you're a dog owner, you would share that opinion. They're so loyal, so funny, so loving. We don't have them for long enough, sadly. They don't live a long enough life on this planet. So anyway, God bless your pets. God bless that flag. God bless this country. And I will see you next week, Thursday, 8 o'clock. Apologies if there was any inconvenience. But hey, overall, I think we had a good rant. See you guys.